Hello everybody, welcome back to my gaming review. Decided to do a video today since it's been 2 days since my last video. I've been just kind of busy and there's been some stuff happening because Christmas is, pretty much here already. We're going to be doing some stuff with family and all that, but I want to make a quick video on the PlayStation 3 Super Slim because I've actually noticed that there's some people who actually hate this version of the PlayStation 3. Most people who hate this version of the PS3 say that it looks cheap looking, it feels flimsy or crappy or whatever. And there's even been videos on the PS3 Super Slim where people just kind of call it crap. From my experience with the PS3 Super Slim, it's actually a really reliable PlayStation 3 console. Out of that generation of consoles, when it comes to like the Wii, the 360, and the PS3, I would say the Nintendo Wii and the PlayStation 3 Super Slim are the most reliable consoles from that generation, the Wii, 360, PS3 generation. But people say the PlayStation 3 Super Slim looks cheap, it feels cheap, and all that stuff. I can tell you that the PlayStation 3 Super Slim has been very reliable for me. It works amazingly, the games work amazingly. I've had zero issues with the PlayStation 3 Super Slim. I actually have two of these guys. Got my white one and my black one. I actually made this one black and white just to make it look cool, and then I made my other one white and black. But anyway, PlayStation 3 Super Slim, people say it feels cheap or whatever. For me, it doesn't really feel cheap, but it feels pretty reliable. I also think that saying it's a bad console just because it looks cheap or feels cheap, it's kind of a bad argument because the PlayStation 2 Slim also feels cheap. The original PlayStation 1 felt cheap. I would say that the DS Lite felt pretty cheap. Even the Nintendo Game Boy felt pretty cheaply made. I mean, all of these game consoles are made from plastic at the end of the day. People say that these break easily or whatever. People say that this is too plasticky, and, I think the dumbest argument you can have for not owning a PlayStation 3 Super Slim. I think that it's a very reliable choice, a very reliable option. And even though some consoles feel cheap compared to other systems, sometimes the ones that feel cheaper actually last the longest and are actually more reliable. Like the PlayStation 2 Slim, the PS3 Super Slim is definitely more reliable than the PS3 Slim and the original PlayStation 3, the big fat one. The PlayStation 3 Super Slim, I will always defend this console, and I really don't understand why people sometimes hate on this thing. Now, the Super Slim has a lot of fans. There's actually a lot of people like me who really enjoy the PlayStation 3 Super Slim, and there's just a lot of positives with it. In my opinion, this is a positive right here because you can just take your discs out. It's a top-loading device. I think that top-loading devices are actually better than this way, where you take out your discs. For, I don't know what you call the other mechanism, but I think a top-loading game system is way better than the other way. That the other PlayStation 3s do it. I think that it's better built, better made. And I think that the PlayStation 3 Super Slim is the best option to go for if you are building a PlayStation 3 collection, or if you just want to play some classic games like PlayStation 1 games. But the PlayStation 3 Super Slim, I do agree that sometimes it feels, sometimes the plastic feels kind of like, a little weird on it, but you know what? I own a PlayStation 4 Slim, and PlayStation 4 Slim, guess what? It also feels pretty cheap. Whenever I pick up my PlayStation 4 Slim, it makes all of these like cracking sounds, and it's actually normal. It's just like the plastic is like, it's not like cracking, but it's like when you move a PlayStation 4 Slim, the plastic actually like it moves almost. I hope people understand what I'm saying. Like, if you own the PlayStation 4 Slim, everybody would understand what I'm saying. But the PS4 Slim feels very cheap. I would say the PlayStation 4 Slim feels cheaper than the PlayStation 3 Super Slim. But again, I want to make it clear that just because a console looks cheap or feels cheap does not mean it is cheap. You know, I've taken apart my PlayStation 3 Super Slim. I've repasted these things. I've replaced CMOS batteries, and I've done all that stuff. I've completely taken apart a PlayStation 3 Super Slim. One of the first consoles I ever took apart, all the way to the motherboard, was actually a PlayStation 3 Super Slim. And it actually, on the inside, it is a very well-made device. And in my opinion, it doesn't really matter what's on the outside. The inside is very well-made. It has a heatsink, it has a good cooling system, and the PlayStation 3 Super Slim is just a very well-built system, you know. Even if you think the plastic feels cheap, even if you think that it's a cheap-looking console, whatever, you know, for all the haters of the system, because I had a comment, I can't even talk. I'm sorry, I'm getting tired because I woke up all the way at 4 o'clock this morning. But what was I gonna say? I had a comment on my PlayStation 3 video where I was like, "What is the best PlayStation 3 to buy?" And I gave my honest opinion. In my opinion, it is this one. And this guy did like the laughing emoji or whatever. He was like, "You gotta be kidding me! The PS3 Super Slim feels cheap and crappy." And that's what made me want to make this video. To all the haters of the system, you hate it, and the only argument you have is like, "Oh, it looks cheap. Oh, it feels cheap." But have you actually ever experienced one? Have you ever actually played one for like years and years and years? I know people who have had their PlayStation 3 Super Slim for like 10 years now, or like 8 something years. I had friends back in high school that had like PlayStation 3 Super Slims, and they worked amazingly. I heard so many stories where people say that like, "Oh yeah, my PlayStation 3 Fat broke on me," or "My PlayStation 3 Slim stopped working because the laser broke and I couldn't get my disc out," and they had to replace the normal Slim or the Fat console with a Super Slim. The Super Slim is the best option. It is a great choice when it comes to the PlayStation 3. Plus, if you do have an issue with the laser, you can just take the disc out because you can just open up this door and there's your game. It is a very, very good option when it comes to PlayStation 3. When it comes to collecting PlayStation 3 stuff, when it comes to the games and all that, I really do think that this is the best console to go for. Also, I've noticed that the PlayStation 3 Super Slim doesn't even get that hot compared to the other PlayStation 3s. In my experience with all the consoles, because I've had all 3 of them, the PlayStation 3 Super Slim has been the most reliable. It's been my favorite out of all the PlayStation 3s. And if I was to have all 3 of them sitting in front of me, and if I only had $100 and I could only buy one of them, I would always go with the Super Slim. Because it's the best choice. I know that you have people like freaking, what's his name? Review Tech USA made a video on the PS3. Review Tech USA made a video on the PlayStation 3 Super Slim. And, you know, I do like his content. I do watch him every once in a while. But I disagree with him, because he said that this console is a piece of crap, and he said it's loose in the back when he wiggles the power cable. And he gave a really bad take on the PlayStation 3 Super Slim. And none of the arguments these people have are actually, like, good arguments. Like, some people say that, "Oh, it's a sucky console because you can hear it loading the disc." It's like, really? It's a bad system because you can hear it reading the disc? I owned an original Fat PlayStation 3. The fan was super loud. I have a PlayStation 2 Fat, the original console, a very loud system. I own my Wii Mini, also a very loud system. But being a loud console does not mean it's a bad console. Hearing the disc loading should actually make you happy that your system's actually working. Yeah, does it get loud sometimes? It definitely does, but I prefer reliability and durability. I prefer a console that just works. You know what I mean? And if you look back at that generation of these systems, the Xbox 360s, they all had the red ring of death. They were unreliable, they were crappy. They had a lot of great games, but they were crappy made. They were very badly made. The original PS3, no matter what you think of the original PS3, the big fat original was horribly made, and it was designed to where it basically failed. The 360 failed, the original PS3 failed, because they kept on overheating. They got the yellow light of death, the red light of death. So really, PS3 Super Slim was the best option in that entire generation, as well as the Nintendo Wii. So, in my opinion, again, this system is the best one to go for because reliability, durability. I don't really care how loud the system gets. I don't really care about that stuff. The system stays cool. Mine works amazingly. And it plays all my PS1 games perfectly. It plays all my PS3 games perfectly. I can use PS4 controllers on it, PS5 controllers on it, and I have a very fun time with the system. I just don't understand the hate some people have for this console because most of the arguments I hear is like, oh, it feels cheap or it looks cheap. But it's like most of these people who say this haven't actually owned one, and if they owned one like Review Tech USA, then if they still hate it, then that's just their opinion and view. But I think it's a fantastic classic, PS3 console to get, and I think that this is always going to be the best one. And if you're looking to ever buy a PS3 ever again, or if you're looking into, if you don't have a PlayStation 3 no more, or if you never owned one, I think that the Super Slim is the best option. But anyway, I'm in the video because it's been a very long video, but I just want to defend my system right here because I love this thing. I love the look of it. I love the design of it. I love how easy it is to take apart, and it's very fixable. I can repaste it. I can get a new CMOS battery for it. I can get a new power supply for it when it goes bad. I can get a new power button and eject button. This is a very easy system to work with, to work on. It's a very good console that plays games perfectly. It's a very reliable system that should last you, in my opinion, for like 20 years or even more than that. It is a very good system. And I know people who have owned the PS3 Super Slim since it launched, since it came out, because so many people who love the PS3 had the original fat one break on them. And even the PS3 Slim has been known for having overheating issues and breaking. But anyway, I'm in this video, so peace out. Peace out. Hope everyone has had a lovely day, and tell me in the comments below what you think. If you are somebody who hates the Super Slim, give me a real argument to why it sucks, because saying it's too loud or saying it looks like it's cheap or it feels too cheap for you, that's not really an argument. Like, what argument are you making? It's a PS3. Every game system is made of plastic. And honestly, the PS4 Slim feels very cheap. Very cheap, okay? I've owned PS4 Slims not my entire life, but most of my life I've owned a PlayStation 4 Slim, and they always do like these creaking sounds, okay? This thing doesn't make those sounds that a PS4 Slim makes. But again, it doesn't matter because they're all made of plastic. But anyway, give me a good argument down below as to why a PS3 Super Slim sucks. Give me a good argument, really. If you start off your argument with it looks cheap, it feels cheap, or you give me like the argument where it's like, oh, it's too the disk drive is too loud for me. Those are not real arguments. Though none of those things that these people have mentioned makes this a bad choice. Like, for real. And for most people like me, you just plug this in, you play your games, you have fun. You don't really look at all that other crap, you know what I mean? But anyway, I'm in this, so peace. PlayStation 3 Super Slim is awesome.